In this example, we're going to talk about a bunch of different really important things to have to do with passing parameters. And we're going to look at passing by reference and passing by value. So here is what happens in a regular program where we do not specify whether or not we are passing by value, which is simply a copy of a variable's value, or by reference, which is the actual address in memory or wherever storage happens to be. For us here, this really is memory, but if we're looking at a database, etc., it might not be. So, but the address in memory of the variable, they give you two very, very different things. So I'm just going to go ahead and run or rerun this particular program here. And what I'll tell you is I'm taking a number that I would like doubled. I double it as many times as that number is. So I'm going to do 12. So I'm going to double it 12 times. So here you're going to see 12. Let me take that out of here. Here in our code, you're going to see 12. That's better. And I'm going to double that 12 times. But before we go ahead and do that, let's just take a look at what's happening here. I have an integer variable called total, and total is set equal inside of my main to 1. Here, I am passing on line number 15, I am passing both iterations and total here over to running total. And here inside of running total, my variable, which is called int total, is going to be doubled however many times I say. In this case, it's going to be 12. And the result is going to be outputted here on line number 30. I'm going to see total inside of there. When this function is done executing, we're going to return back to main. The flow of control is going to go from running total back to main and then back to the line immediately following that function's call. So that's right here on line 15. We're going to execute next on line 17. But here your total is, and here again we're going to see, and you can see how many times I'm using the word total here. Total. Here's the problem. So I'm going to go hit enter. And right here, your initial total is 1. We know that because I set total equal to 1 here on line number 8. This is your total from inside running total. This line is executed right here. And you'll notice that we have 4,096, which is 12 doubled 12 times. So far, so good. This line, though, is what a lot of students get tripped up on. But your total here is 1. Why is this 1? Because we did not pass total itself. We passed a copy of total to running total here. We did not pass the reference, the actual address in location for total. We just passed a copy of it. So when we said your iteration is 12 and the total is 1, what we did, what C++ did, is at runtime, it took a copy of each of those and passed it along to the function. The function did what it needed to do, and it didn't, in this case, it didn't return anything. It simply executed it, through part of its execution, has a cout statement there, that goes out, and then we come back to main. But because we passed a copy of total over to running total, that never changed. The variable itself was unchanged in the process of running total. So we can fix this, and we do this in a couple of different ways. I'm going to show you with a global variable and with a pass by reference. So let's do the pass by reference first. The pass by reference indicates with an ampersand, just like this, and we're putting that in the function prototype up here on line number 4. This indicates it's an integer that you should expect when we call to running total, but it's an integer that is going to be received here not as a copy of the value of, in this case, it's total. We're going to receive as part of, those parameters that we're receiving here, we're going to receive the actual address of total. What happens then is total gets an opportunity to get changed and have that change referenced over in main. So that's part of it. The other part, we have to come down here, and it's an extra space there. Int ampersand total, like so. The double, or the location of the ampersand doesn't change. That's the part that I think a lot of people ask me questions about historically is, okay, so I have int and here, and then int and down here in my function definition. Yeah, that's just what we want to see there. So it may look a little different the first time you run it. I understand that part. But the ampersand did not move. It's just that we put the name of our variable where the ampersand was in the function prototype, irrespective. So this time around, because I've passed not the value, so not a copy of the iterations here, I'm actually passing the real location of total. So now this total here on line 27 and this total here on line 22 are referring to the same thing, but they're referring to the global total here because it's being referred to by the address instead of just a copy of the value inside of there. So here you can see, but here your total is 4096 right here on line 17. So that means this total and this total were changed by that function call. So how do we do this if we want a global variable as opposed to a pass by reference? What we would need to do is take total out of here, so out of our main, and put it here with our function prototype. So we need an int total equals 1. So I'm going to go ahead and run this again. So this time around, we're going to do 12 again. And when we run this, nothing has changed so far, because the one thing we have to change is right here. So we're passing a copy because, again, we're not using that ampersand, the reference to its location here in our running total function call. We're not calling it by its reference. So if I get rid of this, that total, I'm just passing now iterations. I'm just passing it now iterations. And here inside of my running total, I've got total. This is referring back to our global variable named total. So this time when we run it, I would like it doubled 12 times. So initially the value is 1, and I have set that here on line number 5 before we even get into main. Because we have put it out here above main with our function prototypes, that variable is open for use in all of the functions we have here inside of our program. We'll actually see in C++277 how we can change access to that, but here in 276 we will not. So that means that both main and running total have access to total, and we can use this variable without having to pass by reference, without having to pass by value, because they all have access to the exact same variable. So there's a lot of different ways we can do this. You just have to be consistent in which way it is that you choose.